And it definitely influenced the way I thought about the show, the pandemic. And I think it will affect people when they watch it too. They'll remember also.
I want to just go back to the beginning with you two. This novel was written in 1949. How did this whole journey start for the two of you?
Well, we were on parallel tracks. We only met here at the end when we got to do the show together. What happened was Michael Phillips was a phenomenal producer in his late 20s, and we're going back to 1976. He won an Oscar for The Sting, and he'd just done Taxi Driver and Close Encounters of the Third Kind. So he was kind of on fire. And the next project he wanted to do was Earth Abides, which he got the rights to. 25 years later, after trying to turn it into a feature film and not being able to, he kind of gave up. And what happened in those intervening years is he winds up becoming friends with Kearie. Kearie loves sci-fi. TV changes and becomes the place where real storytelling is happening. And suddenly, Kearie has the book, has the rights, and is able to go to the head of MGM Plus, Michael Wright, and say, what about this one? And Michael Wright says, oh, my favorite book from when I was a teenager. So that's how the book was sort of migrating towards this moment in time. I was just, hanging out, doing my own thing. And they came and found me and said, what do you think? Do you think this is a television show? And once you read the book and know the story, it's kind of hard to unglue from it. Yeah. So they got me, and then here we go. And we have a show.
It is very timely, having been through what we all just went through in 2020. Do you feel like, it's particularly after all it took to get to this place, do you feel like this show has a greater impact now than it would have maybe being made 25 years ago?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Now we know what it's like. We had an experience of the pandemic, and it affected some people positively and it affected a lot of people negatively. And I think we all got to witness the earth coming back. And I think people were shocked and surprised by that. And it definitely influenced the way I thought about the show, the pandemic. And I think it will affect people when they watch it too. They'll remember also.
I hope that people see that it doesn't work. I think that there's a reckoning that happens in this, and you can't outrun the things that he's done and the things that he has let happen. And I think that if he had gotten away with that, it would have shown that you could do that. And I love the way that he kind of gets what's coming to him in a certain sense. Because it's we've been through a lot, and I feel the same way. The fact that this book was written in the late 40s, and it was written at a time, I read something about the book as I was reading the book about how that it was written in response to everyone thinking that the atom bomb that the world was going to blow each other up with these weapons, right? And so the author wrote this book to say, actually, the silent killer is going to kill everyone, right? And I just think it was so fascinating to go in that way. And then, of course, to have been through what we've all been through and realize that I think that the wool was removed from a lot of people's eyes, mine for sure, that, you just get lulled in the sense of everything's going to be okay. And then you see that how quickly things could not be okay. And I think it puts a lot of things into perspective about life and about the lives that we're leading. And I don't know, the show just asked really, really simple, deep questions that a lot of shows don't always ask.
I want to get into the cast, because what a phenomenal cast. What were you looking for in these characters?
I find in all the projects that come to fruition, it's never what you were looking for. It's always who you needed. So I imagined Ish from the book, and then as I wrote him, as kind of a more wiry, smaller guy with a wrestler's strength and, kind of athletic, but certainly not a tall Viking. And then Alexander shows up and delivers this performance of such subtlety and of such a man carrying a burden and shrinking under the burden until he finally grows wings at the end. And it's perfect. He's beautiful in it. And it's the best work he's ever done. So God sent us Alexander Ludwig and Jessica and these incredible actors in the supporting roles. It's just a team that I feel like was assembled. You know, it's like Avengers Assemble. This was cast assemble, and we were the ones that were blessed by them joining us.
I have to know what is going on with Charlie. I'm trying to find out. Is he inherently bad, or is he just a guy who's in an impossible situation? What's happening with him?
I think, kind of contrary to what we see with Ish and Emma and how their group of people have survived through love and togetherness and leaning on each other and trust and working with their environment. Charlie and his group of people, I think we very quickly learned, have gotten through this terrible situation by taking advantage of people and bulldozing people. And, it's much more of, I think, what we're used to seeing sadly, in our leadership today, of people that are put in positions and they just take advantage. So I think it was fun to represent that and bounce that up against this wonderful love at which the rest of the characters are operating.